What's going on, guys? It's Noah, and I'm just checking in. Listen, today I just want to give you guys a tip, a little pearl of wisdom in my experience on how to cope and deal with depression, anxiety, and depersonalization. And that tip for you, if you're suffering today, if you're having a bad time in general, whether it be situational depression, anxiety, depersonalization, or a more organic one. Point being, if you're not doing well and you found this video because you need a tip, you need help, you need advice, here is a little general piece of advice that applies to me still to this day that I want to share with you. If you're struggling, if you're hurting, and those symptoms of those different things I mentioned are flared up, what I want you to do and what I have to do on a daily basis right now is I have to focus on the things that I can imagine as opposed to the things that I simply can't. When you're hurting, when your depression is bad, when your anxiety is flared up and you're agitated, and when you're depersonalized for that niche group of people that are, it's very easy to get caught up in the things that you just can't imagine going on. So an example of a negative imagining is saying things to yourself like I tend to do, and like I think a lot of people who are struggling with mood disorders like they tend to do, saying things like, I can't imagine feeling like this forever. That is a very, very it's a very overwhelming thing to put into thought and to process. When you're in pain, it's very easy to overblow this. I've talked about it in the past. I did a video called Catastrophic Thinking, and I think it's just the tendency, human nature, that when you're suffering, it is easy to get lost in that suffering and feel like it's going to last forever. I still do it. It's amazing. Despite what I've been through, my description below, it edifies me. I still do it. And what I want you to try to do, and what I invite you to do, and I have to invite myself to do this like every day. So this doesn't come from a preachy standpoint. It comes from a in the fucking trenches standpoint. I want you to try to imagine what you can get through, what you can handle. Imagine things that are achievable as opposed to things that you can't imagine. An example of this would be if your anxiety is so bad that you're having trouble breathing, that you think panic is coming, if you're afraid that you are dying from this severe anxiety, I want you to imagine taking a deep breath. Because I know that you couldn't imagine going through what you're going through, but I think you can imagine getting through a moment. And so I want you to imagine things that are accomplishable. So if you feel the anxiety picking up, I want you to imagine taking a few deep breaths. Like, I can do that. That's doable. That is feasible. You're going to take a few deep breaths, or you're going to go run some cold water over your wrist. Try to slow down your heart rate a little bit. You can imagine doing that. You can, in the same respect for depression and depersonalization, you couldn't imagine, like I can't imagine feeling as low as I've felt over these last couple of years, and of course the acute stretch is much worse than just moderate symptoms. I can't imagine life like this forever. And when I think that way, I perpetuate that fear, and I start to feel hopeless, despairing, helpless. All those negative things, they overwhelm me. But what I can imagine doing is getting through one day. That's doable. I still struggle to imagine long term, even with the great strides I've made. But what I can imagine is making it through today, no matter what. And if we can keep it on a day-to-day basis, if you can eliminate this endless future, which we don't have control over, and it's so out of our control that we just freak out. If you can eliminate that and focus on a moment, something you can imagine, it'll help you get through it until your brain has a chance to repattern. This is something I have to tell myself, so it's something that I'm in the act of doing all the time. And I just wanted to share that with you. So I know that was a little bit jumbled, and I don't want to give too many specifics. The anxiety thing came up because my anxiety peaked the other night. So that's why I wanted to say, in particular, if I thought you think you're going to panic, don't think, oh, I can't imagine going through another panic attack. I can't imagine like surviving this. Oh my God, I can't imagine dealing with the pain and the discomfort. Don't worry about the things you can't imagine doing. What can you imagine doing? Can you imagine getting up right then and calling someone? Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you guys? Can you imagine things that are doable? Because a lot of this shit feels impossible. But there are things you can do that are accomplishable. I don't know if that's a word. And and that are attainable. And that's what I want you to focus on. That's what I want me to focus on. So if I need to watch this video back, Noah, that's what you focus on. You focus on things that you can handle. Because nobody could handle feeling severely depressed, anxious, or depersonalized forever. I don't believe anyone could. But if we can keep it into smaller chunks, and if we can manage it in minutes, hours, and days, then we don't have to deal with the imaginings of forever, because we're focused on today. So I think I repeated myself at least 6 different ways, as I tend to do. But I just want to throw that out there for you. So for anyone who's having a rough time, that is for you, and it will get better, I promise. You just need to hang in there, do your job, do your part, and wait for your brain to repattern. I don't care how long that takes, it doesn't matter, because you're focused on today, just like I am. And that has led me to a couple of years since I had my mental breakdown, and God willing, it's going to lead me to a lot more. And no matter how bad life feels, it can feel worth it again, provided you do your part. You manage yourself one day at a time, no matter what. And you do things you can imagine. And try not to get lost in the things you can't. I'll do another video soon. I owe you guys so many videos right now. It's crazy. And I said to a few people real quick, so I want to throw this out there and acknowledge a couple people. I said I would do a video on depersonalization in particular, but at the moment, I'm getting my butt kicked a little bit by antidepressant withdrawals, and I don't think I'm getting rebound anxiety, depression, and all that stuff. I don't think it's appropriate for me to comment on my recovery from depersonalization while I'm struggling with these symptoms and trying to just hang tight. So that's it. Take good care, guys. Be brave, be strong. If you're doing well, it's awesome. Enjoy it. Do whatever you can to soak it up and not take it for granted, and we will see you soon. All right, guys, take care. But what I can imagine is making it through today, no matter what. And if we can keep it on a day-to-day basis, if you can eliminate this endless future, which we don't have control over, and it's so out of our control that we just freak out. If you can eliminate that and focus on a moment, something you can imagine, it'll help you get through it until your brain has a chance to repattern.